So we are here at the River Restaurant of the Savoy, which is where Louis worked between 1919 and 1927. And this is the restaurant in action.
Wow. I love this. It's so 1920s. It's so glamorous.
It was one of the best, if not the best restaurant in the whole world.
Wow.
And Louis was head wine waiter.
He was head wine waiter?
Yes.
Oh, Louis.
And he actually got an award for it. A French award called Chevalier du Mérite Agricole.
You're joking?
No, not at all. It's a very prestigious distinction. This was given to him in 1922.
And here's his title in French. Chef du service des vins au Savoy Hotel à Londres. Fair play to him. For a working class Frenchman who's come to London, he's certainly risen in his profession.
Absolutely, and we are extremely lucky in that the Savoy keep an archive of their former employees. And this is Louis' card.
Louis' card.
And the card contains his previous employment history.
Louis' employment card reveals that to get to the Savoy, he had worked his way up through the ranks of his profession since his arrival in London in the 1890s. Political instability in France and cheaper cross-channel transport encouraged many young French men and women to seek work in the English capital. By the turn of the century, there were tens of thousands of poor French immigrants crammed into a part of Soho known as La Petite France. Many sought work in the city's flourishing restaurants. Louis' card records that he was taken on as a junior waiter by the fashionable Prince's restaurant in 1899.
This is the Prince's restaurant. You can see very, very rich, very opulent surrounding.
Wow.
You can
Where is this?
This is just off Piccadilly.
Oh,
It was
really?
a very nice place run by French people.
Would he have made more money here than he would have done in Paris, say?
Yes. Here, a French waiter had this immense cachet.
So these kind of places were looking for Frenchmen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Prince's restaurant was catering to the theatre crowd, so it closed at impossible hours, and this would have been a demanding job.
Yeah, I've got this letter, and this is from, see, it's headed the Prince's Restaurant. He's writing to his wife, Lizzie. She's gone back to her parents' house in Norfolk, and he says, "You asked me to try and come over next Sunday. Indeed, I believe you struck it unlucky, for we have a dinner of 60 Frenchmen, and they have got a licence. So it's no use thinking about it for a moment." So he couldn't see his wife because he had to work late.
Yes, and that's obviously one of the striking features. It was a hard life.
Yeah.
Louis would have been working until 2 or 3, 6 days a week.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Yes, very, very difficult lifestyle.
Yeah.
And he earned probably about 40 shillings a month, which works out to be about £80 in contemporary terms.
And he was supporting, by the time that letter was written, he was supporting a wife and child on that as well.
Exactly. And we can imagine the strain. There was not much time for married life. If we look at the following census in 1911,
1911. So we've got Lizzie is listed first as wife, and then that's been crossed out and put head, as in head of the family. So the marriage had already broken up in 1911. And Stanley, my grandfather, is only one. It makes me feel really tearful. And so he'd gone.
And here he is.
Louis Volant. He's 33. He's still married, but they've separated. He's now living in 6 Upper James Street in one room. So sad.
I've got all these back in here, Jo, and I want you to take them with you. So look after Louis and Lizzie for me.
I will really, thank you so much. I'll look after them.